Republicans in Iowa dominated elections for governor and the state legislature over the last decade. They took both chambers in the state house to supermajorities. Then something strange happened this week. For the second time in the last 7 months, a Democrat won a special election for an open seat in the state Senate. Caitlin Dray defeated Republican Christopher Prosch with 55% of the vote to roughly 45% of his in the vote. That 10-point margin is the same margin Donald Trump won by in that district last year. Now, Caitlin Dray's win will break the Republican supermajority in the state Senate. That means Republicans can't steamroll everything they want to do in the chamber anymore. Republicans will now need at least one Democrat to go along with them to confirm appointments to state agencies and commissions by Governor Kim Reynolds during her last year in office. Democrats hope this victory carries over into next year's midterm elections, especially now that U.S. Senator Joni Ernst will not run for re-election. This week's special election win by Caitlin Dray, combined with Mike Zimmer's win in January to flip Lieutenant Governor Chris Knorr's old seat, has Democrats in Iowa brimming with some optimism. It certainly has Iowa Democratic Party Chair Rita Hart smiling. She joins us for a conversation this morning. Welcome back to the program.
Great to be here, Jim. Thanks so much.
How surprised are you by Caitlin Dray's victory this week?
I would say we were not surprised. We were very hopeful that all our hard work would pay off, and while it was a very a tough task to take on, we were very pleased with the results.
We saw Democrats gain those 2 seats in the state Senate over the last 7 months. This latest win takes away the Republican supermajority. What difference do you think that will make in this next legislative session?
Yeah, well, it's first of all, it just gives Democrats a shot in the arm and gives us a leg up on 2026. But as far as the session itself is concerned, it's just a little bit of power. It's a little bit of a reason why Republicans will have to try to work with folks on the other side of the aisle. And I think that's something that Iowans are definitely happy about, right? Iowa has been a state that has always appreciated people who are elected, who go to Des Moines and who have to work with the other side, have to listen to the other side, so that better decisions are made. And that has not been happening since the Republicans took complete control almost 10 years ago. And so I think this will make a little bit of a difference as far as having people be hopeful that instead of the Republicans, as they have done the last few cycles, not listening to the folks that they don't agree with, but instead having to think a little bit about the entire state rather than just the folks on their side of the aisle.
Republicans still have that large majority in the Senate, as well as 67-33 advantage in the House. How much do you need to potentially temper expectations going into next year's session and the elections? Any concerns about being overconfident?
No, I don't believe that's true. I think that we've had some really tough election cycles, and people are not naive about this. We're going in with open eyes. We recognize that that special elections are different than general election campaigns, and so we have learned a few lessons about the fact that we've got to have a message that people can resonate with, and that's why I think that we are looking forward to 2026, because people are getting the picture. They're starting to understand that this state is not going in the right direction, that under Republican control, they have, again, because they haven't had to work with people on the other side of the aisle, they've passed some very unpopular legislation. People are not happy with the voucher program as it has been passed. They recognize that costs are going up rather than down, and that Republicans haven't done much about affordability, and they certainly have found that childcare is more expensive, less accessible, and there are real concerns about healthcare and about our ability for folks to take care of the elderly. So lots of reasons why it's important to have these conversations, and I'm thrilled that we have as many great candidates as we have right now, so that we are going to be talking to folks about these important issues from now until 2026.
Let's skip ahead a little and talk presidential politics. In Iowa, that means the caucuses. You recently went on the record saying the decision by the Biden administration to strip Iowa of its first-in-the-nation status in 2024 was a mistake. It clearly hurt Iowa economically. You also claim it hurt the Democratic Party nationally. Why and how?
Yeah, I think that it was really a disadvantage to us here in Iowa, but also for the national ticket, that when you have the Republican primary here, and you have a lot of folks on the Republican side who are getting all the press attention and are spending millions of dollars on campaign ads and conversations surrounding that didn't help us make our message clear and set the stage for what later became a very tough presidential race. So, and I think that not only is that true, but it was a mistake to not have a small state like Iowa in the center of the country. People who want to run for president have got to win in states like Iowa, and that calendar did not reflect that fact.
In South Carolina, we know got the nod from the Biden administration to be first in 2024, but New Hampshire Democrats broke their rule and still went ahead anyway and didn't seem to pay a price. There was pressure on you to keep Iowa first at that time, but you followed the national party. How much do you regret that?
Well, keep in mind that I didn't come into that situation until the decision really had already been made. I started as chair in January of 23, which is when that committee, the Rules and Bylaws Commission and the DNC made that decision. And so I tried to do, as I said then, what's best for Iowa. And at that time, the best thing we could do was to talk to folks and to make sure that we were running the kinds of campaigns, and we needed to build the party, because at that time our party was pretty down and out. You know, we had several bad cycles. We needed to raise money. We needed to organize. There was some division. So I don't regret the fact that we spent our time and energy rebuilding this party. And so 2.5 years later, we're in much better position. We're in a much better financial position. Our organizational structure is much stronger. We have more activated volunteers all across the state. We have a county party structure that is invigorated, and we have a state central committee that is working very strongly together. So now we're in a totally different position as we look to the future of the presidential calendar. And I have been quick to say to folks that the important thing that we have got to focus in on right now is 2026. We've got to get some electoral wins here in 26. And again, I am so pleased that we have such great candidates. We're looking forward to a very competitive governor's race. We have 4 congressional races that are strong, and we have primary candidates in all 4. 3 of those districts have already been targeted by the DCCC as districts in play, and we're very happy that Joni Ernst is not in a good place. I see that the polls have her down to somewhere around 39% favorability. She's been weakened, and we have 5 really strong candidates with strong resumes and folks that are working really hard to make sure that Joni Ernst is no longer in the United States Senate. So lots of opportunity for us, and it's really important that we take advantage of this momentum that we have right now in order to turn this state more purple and get some better representation for all of Iowans.
I understand your focus on next year's elections, but I'm going to stick with the caucus issue for a moment. The Democratic National Committee held its summer meetings this week to begin the process of creating the caucus and primary calendar. What case will you make to put Iowa first again?
Well, again, we're making that strong case that, you know, to your point, that last time cycle wasn't good for Iowa. It wasn't good for building this Democratic Party on the national basis. In Iowa, they can win across the nation. And that's why I think that all eyes have been on Iowa. Even though the story is that maybe, that it doesn't say that Iowa is going to be first, the candidates are not getting that memo because they've been showing up, right? We've had Pete Buttigieg here, Tim Walz has been here, Rahm Emanuel is coming, Ruben Gallego was here just a few weeks ago. People are showing up because Iowa matters. And again, we can do the kind of, those candidates can run the kinds of campaigns that they need to in order to get the play that is going to vault them forward as they continue a race across the country.
Are you or would you be willing to break the party rules this time if the DNC doesn't put Iowa first, regardless of the consequences?
What I will tell you is that what I've been telling all along, and we're starting this process now, I've said that it's really important that Iowa Democrats are united in what we do about this. And so I told everyone we were going to do a family conversation. We're right in the midst of that. We're doing 21 regional events across the state. We're going to be talking to folks about what they think we should do, what their priorities are. And we've come up with a written survey as well that you can find online or at iowademocrats.org that asks folks, asks our Democrats, what is important to you? And I'm really interested in what we find out through that process. And when we get done with that process at the 1st of November, then we will come up with a report. We'll present that to the State Central Committee, and we'll see what folks really want to do.
Iowa Democratic Party Chair Rita Hart, thanks for the conversation. That brings us to our question of the week. What do you think the Iowa Democratic Party should do if the Democratic National Committee doesn't restore the first in the nation status for the Iowa caucuses? Send your answer by email to fortherecord@whbf.com or respond to this post on Facebook at the Local 4 News WHBF TV page or on my page.